Just get the win. That's all we ask for tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. And the Philadelphia 76ers do just that, picking up the win on the road against the Brooklyn Nets as they defeat the Brooklyn Nets 115-103. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers postgame show presented by Bet365. Whatever the moment's never ordinary at Bet365. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Make sure you sign up using the code PHLY365 when you do. And we'll talk about them a little bit further as we continue the show. But we got a lot of good things to talk about in this one with some players returning. And then, of course, we, as it always goes, you can't have nice things where unfortunate injury happens with Andre Drummond. But we'll talk about that as we go along. Player of the game, unsung hero, temperature check, as we typically do here on the PHLY Sixers postgame. Joined by, as always, Derek Bodner, Kyle Newbeck, I'm Divine Givens, Tyler Zulli, in for Brianna, and all of you in the chat after the Sixers pick up their 10th win on the season. And win number one in NBA Cup play. Thank goodness it's over. Now you can just focus on the regular schedule, and that's it for the team. But, Derek, two guys come back. Well, three of them. We'll talk about one extensively a little bit later. But two in particular come back, Paul George and Jared McCain. Where Jared McCain has been playing for a little bit longer, but he, as we talked about the last time, starting to really get his legs underneath him. Whatever brace he's wearing, he's feeling much more comfortable. Paul George returns. He looks really good in his first quarter action in the first half, finished with 21-plus minutes. And the Sixers pick up this win largely to a lot of good things that those two individuals did in particular.
Yeah. No, and look, Jared McCain was fantastic. Like you mentioned, it's not his first game back, but he has been increasing in both his minutes and in his effectiveness. And I think this was his best game so far. Paul George looked really good at the beginning. I think he had, 7 in like the first 5 minutes of play, ended up with 14 pretty early. Didn't get to play a ton down the stretch because he was at his minutes limit, but he is looking better and better. And Bona, someone I mentioned in the pregame show, that you really wanted to see him get back on track, get his season, which started off with so much struggles and inconsistency. I think this was one of his better games, and he made an impact right from the jump. He was really a presence at the rim, picked up a couple of quick fouls, and then mostly held them in check down the stretch so he could stay on the floor. And his ability to just cover ground, get off the ground quickly, and protect the rim really did have an impact. And he even made a corner three. The Sixers' backup centers and their corner three-point shooting might be one of the stories of the season. And I'm only saying that partially in jest. No, it was, there was a lot of frustrating about this game, especially the first 5 or 6 minutes of that third quarter. You thought you were heading into disaster territory. Quentin Grimes certainly had an up and down game, but a lot of the young players that I think we focused on in the pregame show, a lot of the young players that you want to see start to play better and better and better as the season progressed, this was a good night for them.
Yeah, Jared is the story of this game for me. And there was a period in the middle of this game where struggled a little bit from three. I think one of the things that is jumping out at me right now about Jared is that the no-dip threes are just not there. He is missing those short. He's missing them to the left. He's not connecting on those shots at all. They have been a big part of his arsenal historically, but not there right now. But he's doing a lot of stuff that looks like the knee is feeling good, looks like he's not thinking out there. He's getting downhill with some regularity, even if he's missing some shots at the rim, playing with physicality. And I think one of the things that everyone will focus on, the 20 points, he hit some big threes down the stretch, and that's probably the highlight and the thing that'll stick in your mind more. He had 5 steals in this game, and even apart from the 5 steals, I think the way he is rotating, the way he is moving, the game intelligence has shown up quite a bit. That there were a few possessions tonight where he just got to a spot, beat his man there, and forced his guy to make another pass or try to dribble into the paint. And then he's able to successfully funnel a driver into an Adembona, into a Dominic Barlow, into more of his help. And as long as he can do that, he's going to be able to hang on the floor with anybody, because his shooting is such a weapon that teams have to guard him no matter where he is, no matter whether it's transition or a half-court possession. Offensively, even when he has a poor night or even a poor stretch, very few people out there doubt that Jared McCain can make a difference for this team. It's the ability to hold up in those 3-guard looks in a backcourt with Tyrese Maxey. Like, where do you put this guy? Where can you stick him? Where can you even hide him? I think is probably the thought process a lot of times. Not only did you not really have to hide him tonight, he was able to come through and make an impact on that end of the floor. Not expecting that every single night, but if he can even be passable on the defensive end, he does so many other things and is such a smart basketball player that opens things up for others that he's going to demand more and more playing time as we go on. And frankly, honestly, maybe the most important thing, he got a lot of minutes tonight. And when they were in crunch time, last 5 minutes of the game, as other guys were looking a little bit tired, looking like they didn't have much offense to turn to, it was Jared making plays down the stretch. To me, that shows the conditioning is coming back as well. And that's a really important part for him to go through here.
So I thought also that he didn't have it like right there in that early part of the fourth quarter, because he wasn't aggressively taking guys off the dribble when he seemed like he had a mismatch. He was passing the ball to Maxey or Grimes. Grimes had it going on, so you can kind of understand where the hot hand was, give him the basketball, let him continue to cook the way that he was. But he was passing the basketball up, and he was kind of stuck on 10 points right there, and his shooting was right around 3 of 9, 4 of 9, 4 of 10, and wasn't quite sure how he was going to finish off the game. I thought he would get the minutes, but shooting-wise, how would he finish? Defensively, as you said, he looked pretty good. He kept up with guys, but I wasn't quite sure he was going to even end up with 15 points, let alone the 20 that he had tonight, because the shot was not falling there in that latter part of the third quarter, earlier in the fourth. But getting that breakaway layup, give him the 2 points there, comes back, gets another corner three. They find him one more time. And to your point, he had that no-dip three in the corner when the guy was closing out on him, the defender, and he missed it. And I was like, okay, he just, he played well tonight, but he's not going to maybe not contribute a little bit more offensively as far as scoring goes. And that's just going to be all right because he looked pretty solid. But then he started to hit those other shots again, the layup, the three, and then another three, and said, okay, Jared McCain, as we saw last year, this is the best he's looked. He's probably back, because we're talking 15, 15, and 20 in 3 consecutive games where he has put those numbers up on the board for the Sixers. And it's really encouraging. And at one point, I believe it was halftime, where he was interviewed by the television crew, Ala and Kate, and they asked him about finding his spot, his turn in the rotation. And he just said, just going out there, doing my thing and finding my way. And right now, without VJ Edgecombe out there, it's unfortunate that this is how we have to find out, but we have found out that he is now, it looks like, back. So when Edgecombe does return and they do have their 4-guard rotation, to your point, Kyle, again, Nick Nurse is going to have to put him on the floor, because he's making him put him on the floor with his two-way ability to play that he's making, and putting the ball on the floor. That'll just continue to show itself once he gets even more comfortable out there, and maybe there's even more spacing out there with some other players that return to the lineup that can help him out. He was fantastic. It was good to see it. They needed the shooting tonight, and we talked about it just being a get-right game overall for this basketball team, but it's also one of those for certain individuals like McCain, when you're going to look, they're all NBA players on the other side, but I would take my chances with Jared McCain against a lot of defenders in this league, and tonight doing so against this Brooklyn Nets team, the confidence just continues to build, and you can see it. Hopefully he starts to do so, Derek, with more ball on the floor attack as we continue to go, and I'm sure he will, but it's nice to see that shot falling.
Yeah, I mean, look, even with that, though, and when his shot wasn't falling mid-game, I thought he was still finding ways to impact the game, and I thought defensively he was sound in his rotations. But even with the stuff off the dribble, I think he does a very good job of using the threat of that shot just to get, by someone's shoulder and be able to get a little bit of shoulder between them, get to his spots for that mid-range, occasionally get to the spots off the dribble all the way to the rim. And he just did so many small things, like that scoop pass out in transition to get the guy going. I thought this was a really strong game from him pretty much all around. And you could really just see, he's always going to be held back defensively because of his size and his speed. But you can see that he was very engaged, and he is just getting more and more confident, not only in the knee, but in his ability out there to perform and to execute. We we've said this now a couple games, but every game he looks progressively more and more like the one we saw last year. And for him to be hitting the ground running the way that he is, we talked to Legler, like, what was it, maybe 2 weeks ago. And Legs was like, this could take weeks, if not months. Yeah. And he is, 3 games is 3 games. He could obviously hit some struggles, but if he hits some struggles now, it doesn't look like it's because of a lack of confidence in the knee. It doesn't look like he's in his head. It certainly doesn't look like he needs to go back down to the G League like we were talking about just a week ago. He is hunting transition threes. He is hunting off-ball threes. He is using that leverage to get into the paint. I really like the way that he is playing and playing within himself. And if the shot isn't there, if the driving lane's not there, he's moving the ball real quickly. Doesn't always happen on his team. There's some guys, sure we'll get to, occasionally force some drives to the basket. I really like the way that he is playing right now.
I wonder who you're talking about. When
no
you
idea.
Say forcing some
I had nobody in mind in particular.
I'm glad you brought up the word engaged with Jared on defense, Derek, because I think when we talk about the defensive limitations, maybe of him and Tyrese, or if you play a 3 guard of Jared, Tyrese, and VJ together, I think that's a problem that is going to be more of a problem in a playoff environment or an end game environment. I think because those guys are all relatively conscientious defenders, that's something that you can play these guys lots of minutes in the regular season, because it isn't so much of the chess match back and forth. Hey, we're really going to dissect this lineup, this team night to night, the way a team does in a 7-game series. And so maybe we don't find out about how viable all these guys are together in the regular season. But I do think it's a group that can win games together, because I think they can defend at a good enough level, or just compete at a high enough level where you look at these teams, including their own around the league, all these injuries, guys in and out of the lineup every single night. You don't know really who you're facing on a night-to-night basis between the schedule quirks with back-to-backs, various soft tissue injuries that everybody's talking about around the league, all these big names out right now. These young guys, as long as they are out there and relatively engaged and playing hard, that's like 80% of the battle. There will be some teams who have big wings and are super switchable, and they're going to pose problems to you on that end of the floor. By and large, though, this is a group that with Jared McCain can hold up well enough defensively, and have shown that, frankly. Like, those 3-guard looks with Quentin Grimes and VJ Edgecombe and Maxey have been their best 3-guard or their best 3-man lineup and part of their best 5-man lineups all year. They've been very good on both sides of the ball. To me, there's no reason that they shouldn't be able to do the same thing with Jared McCain if he shows the level of engagement and competitiveness that we got out of him tonight.
Look really solid. Glad that he's finding his legs underneath him. Shot looks pretty good. Even when he did drive to the basket a few times there in maybe what was the first half, he had a scoop layup. Second half, tried a few, didn't go his way, but he was trying to get there. And maybe that did discourage him from those mismatches that I thought he had there later on in that second half, because they were blocked and he didn't have the burst that maybe he felt like he did at that point. But he just kept going at it. And to you guys' points, he made sure that he contributed in a few different ways. So good on Jared McCain. Looked pretty solid. Paul George is back as well. Played 21 minutes on the night, 21 minutes and 21 seconds. He was 6 for 10, 2 for 5 from 3. 3 boards, 2 assists, had 2 steals, also 14 points in his start. And as Derek pointed out, in the start of the game, he had 7 points, hitting 3 for 4 from the floor, 1 for 2 from beyond in 9 minutes and 23 seconds. He really had it going early again, where others were finding their way, both he and Andre Drummond. We'll talk about Drummond a little bit later with the injury, but Paul George also looking solid. We're going to take our first pause here on the show, everybody. Make sure you hit that like button while you listen to us talk about some of our ad partners here, our friends here on the show. Hit the like button. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll tell you about a little sale that we have going on here at PHLY, so you can jump in, take advantage of our Black Friday sale. We'll discuss Paul George a little bit more, Andre Drummond, Tyrese Maxey, and many more. When we get back, Sixers win 115-103. They're now 10-8 on the campaign, 1-3 in NBA Cup play, and we don't have to talk about it anymore because they're not going to Las Vegas. When we get back, we'll jump into all of that, plus a temperature check right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. All right, team. Bet365. Not only are the Sixers back in the winning column, so are we here. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365 as we hit on our same game parlay. Thanks to Jared McCain in the best game of the season. Again, it was over 12.5 points, 2+ threes made, or 1.5 threes made, and the Sixers get the win. All three, all done right there at Bet365 because we are one of the 90 million users worldwide, and we get the early payout because the Sixers went up big in that first half, and you got the early payout in terms of the win total when it comes to the Sixers tonight. See, all you have to do is sign up to become a member at Bet365. So with it, let me tell you, breaking news, everybody, they're being very generous. $150 in bonus bets for you, win or lose, when you sign up using the code PHLY365. All you have to do is deposit $10. You have to play with a $5 bet, and you get $150 in bonus bets. That's win or lose. That's right, win or lose, you get that. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Thank you, Jared McCain, for getting us back in the win column. Must be 21 plus and physically located in Pennsylvania. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And guys, if you were in our Discord today, Kyle and I had a little bit of a contest where we were sharing our speed test results. And they were
Don't tell anybody whose download speed was better.
My upload speed, it doesn't matter because both of our speeds were fantastic because we are smart. We have great internet setup with no lagging, no buffering, because if you call yourself a sports fan, you have to have Xfinity, and Kyle and I are on game. It's the ultimate sports destination where you can find the best games and your favorite teams all in one place. The way that you watch is next level. Got all the action right in your living room, plus Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K. It's so clear it feels like you're in the arena. Top of that, you get real-time notifications and live stats right on your TV. It's the best seat in the house every time. Next game day, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K capable TV box.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers post-game show. Sixers back again in the win column with the win over the Brooklyn Nets. Much needed, took care of business. A lot of contributions from the team. So let's look at see who's heating up, who's cooling off with our Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. And with that, who are we giving this one to? Temperature check. Are we going with Quentin Grimes here? Are we going with the Dembono? Let's go with Quentin Grimes here with the temperature check. No, let's go.
What is his temperature? I'd be more inclined to give it to Paul George, honestly. Paul George.
Honestly, Quentin Grimes goes for a temperature check about 8 times per game.
Yes, he does. All right. Let's give it to Paul George. Let's talk about Paul George then. We mentioned the stats going into the break. He's back after a layoff. Of course, we have to now wait and play the game of will he play on Sunday against the Atlanta Hawks at home. But tonight, again, Kyle, 14 and 21 minutes and 21 seconds. Looked sharp early on. And he was out there. He looked really good. I mean, he was taking some deep three-pointers when they were swinging the basketball to him, made a few. And he looked pretty solid in his minutes that he was able to play.
Yeah, seeing a wing player hit a transition 3 on the wing where the other team briefly lost track of them and then was just like, damn, like realized that it was Paul George out there instead of, I don't know, Kelly Oubre or Trendon Watford or Jabari Walker. It's a completely different proposition for opposing defenses. But more than the couple made threes that he had some incredibly smooth ball handling and moves inside the arc. That one, I see Derek yelling at his cat behind the scenes over there.
She just knocked over my ring light. She's been obsessed with it all show.
There you go. Doesn't like the lighting. Gotta fix that, Derek. So Paul George, his combination moves that he can put together at his size, despite the fact that he's not as athletic as he used to be, he doesn't have the downhill burst. Those combo moves where it's like crossover, behind the back, up fake, step through, and then he hits a shot off the glass, or you get him on a defender who might not be that much smaller. It might be, like a 6'6", 6'5" type guy, but he gets somebody on the mid post or around the baseline, and he can back him in, turnaround jumper, bang, hits that, you're walking the other way. There are just so many things he can do. And it's why it's so frustrating when he has games where, I mean, forget about being ineffective, but when he floats through a game where last season they desperately needed him to shoot more, attack more, impact the game more, and he just wouldn't get involved. He'd play more of a passive role. I thought tonight was the right balance. And frankly, I thought tonight was the right balance from Tyrese Maxey too. I think both of those guys were able to have an impact on the game. Tyrese with more of an impact on the game. And by the way, played almost 42 minutes, which I was like slamming my head into my desk watching that. But I thought both of those guys were able to leave a big imprint on the game in their minutes without having to dominate touches, without having to dominate the ball. It was a lot of good decisions against pressure. And Paul, every time he's out there and playing as the 4, that opens up the floor so much compared to the other guys they're playing as power forwards this year. So I'm going to knock on wood. I'm really excited to see this team when they're actually close to full strength, because when you see what Paul's impact on floor spacing, on offense, and so many things is, you just dream about, think about these two guys playing off of him at a given time. Think about Joel Embiid having a post up and the ball swings around and ends up in Paul George's hands. And there are all these different things that we've seen already in just a short period of time with Paul on the floor this year. I just need him to stay on the floor. It's been the biggest problem. The skill is there. The defense is there. Just stay healthy. That's really all they need this guy to do.
Yeah, it really is. I feel like they're at a point now with their team construction, with Maxey taking that step, with Jared McCain getting back on the floor, with VJ Edgecombe developing into a do-it-all kind of player earlier in his career, where they don't need Paul George to be the version of Paul George that he would struggle to be at 35. They don't need him to be 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, Paul George. And when you don't need him to do that, it's a lot easier to appreciate all the different ways he impacts the game, from his defensive versatility to his defensive rotations, to the three-point shooting, to the ball handling and ability to take guys off the dribble, a guy basically playing power forward, the passing. All of that is still at a plus level, even at his age. And I think today was a pretty good example of that. The way he was able to impact the game on both ends in a pretty limited sample of minutes, he is additive for pretty much every star or even sub-star, every core piece that the Sixers have on their roster. And to Kyle's point, when you get to a point where you've got McCain and you've got VJ and you've got Oubre and you've got Paul George, you've got Joel Embiid back, there's just so many different ways and so many different lineup constructions that you could go about it, and he fits in legitimately every one. He is just a hyper versatile, two-way player who, now that he's not asked to be a number 2 option, I really think, look, I'm not going to say that Philadelphia's going to embrace him because they signed him when you're making $50 million a year. People don't want to be like, oh, well, you space the floor for Quentin Grimes. But he really does have a skill set that I think is going to help, like I said, in pretty much every roster construction. So I hope, this was game 4 of Paul George. I understand that we've all been burned so much by the injuries, but I really hope, to Kyle's point, we can start seeing all of them together, because I do think there is something there in the way these skill sets fit.
No, it was really good to see him just look like Paul George. A few times, of course, after missing a few games, losing the basketball, even with the dribble combinations, there were a few where the ball got away from him a little, but he was able to find his way. And just seeing his teammates, the idea that, as you said, I was sitting there, and the way that he passes the basketball, the way how we always known him to be a smooth player, but when the ball swings to him and it's a wide open one, you can kind of see the deflation and the shoulders drop of the defender, because it's him versus some of the others. And that's really important, because that has then opened it up for Grimes, McCain, Maxey, of course, and VJ Edgecombe when he does get back. It's just about him consistently being on the floor to be able to open up those opportunities for his teammates. And we would just like to all see that. As I jokingly said, of course, we saw today. Will we see it on Sunday against the Atlanta Hawks? We'll come to that when we do, but it's tough to not think about it after you see that type of play in so little minutes, and the contributions, again, the positives, that everything that he does, just affecting so many things on the floor, both offensively and defensively, where we just continue to want to see that. Yes, the money is what the money is, and they brought him in here for those reasons. We just want to see him out there on the floor. And that's it, because we know how much he can help drive winning. And we haven't seen that enough. Obviously, with the injuries last year, and then starting the season this year with the injuries, teasing us in those first few games, getting to where we are now, where he misses the 3 games, comes back tonight and looks really, really sharp once again. And if he continues to do this and get back out there on the floor, hopefully it's just the ankle now, and it's not the knee where they have to worry about both. And while the ankle starts to feel a little bit better, he won't have to miss time. It's just worrying about, hey, go out there, be a plus on the floor in those 20 to 25 minutes, whatever it is for that particular night, and continue to build up that conditioning and the chemistry with your teammates out there on the floor. And let's start to get these wins again, where this team starts to look like a team. They're going to continue to worry about who's going to be in and out of the lineup. But as you guys said, when Tyrese Maxey is the driving force and you're getting this help from all these other players, they're always going to be in it. The only game that we've talked about they weren't in was this past game against the Orlando Magic, where they got blown out. They've been competitive. They've been in it. They need to get these players back out there on the floor, including Paul George, consistently to help them. I know I'm saying something that's pretty obvious, but at this point, the obvious stuff matters, because they just need to be out there. And just the same way we talked about in pregame, it's really obvious they need to beat the Brooklyn Nets, because the Brooklyn Nets are not as good as them. Get the win. It's really obvious that these guys need to be back out there on the floor. And Exhibit A was what we saw tonight with Paul George, with the rest of the group.
Yeah. Well, not to go full Paul Pierce, but I'm really excited to get the full experience of Paul George.
I was going to say, please don't say the word I think you're going to say. I would just add one more thing, Devon, and it's that none of us are saying, hey, they get Paul George back and this team is all of a sudden a juggernaut. But if you think of how many close games that they did win, think of then, hey, maybe they turn a few of these close wins into a more comfortable 8 to 10 point win. And it's not so dicey down the stretch. And they're able to, at the start of a fourth quarter, end of a third quarter, buy Tyrese Maxey 4 or 5 minutes of rest that he's not getting right now. You buy VJ Edgecombe 4 or 5 minutes of rest that he's not been able to get when he's playing right now. And all of a sudden, now these guys who have been, especially in Maxey's case, been an all-NBA superstar impact player this year, right? If you can just get him a little more time off the floor, because you can win minutes with George, with Grimes, with McCain, with Edgecombe. Bona comes back and he looks pretty good tonight. If you can just cobble together some lineups that they don't even have to win minutes, they just have to not lose them. You have a formula and you have a star that is playing well enough, is working well enough, that you should be able to start turning some of these close games into comfortable victories. And I think those will add up over time into a positive, particularly for Maxey, who badly needs to get what Doc Rivers always used to call old school load management, right? Get him some games where he's taking the fourth quarter off, or at least not playing the entire fourth quarter, because he deserves it. He's earned it.
41 minutes and 45 seconds.
Just insane. Like, credit to him and his conditioning, but man, get that guy some rest at some point.
All right, that'll do it. Paul George is our Ace Hardware player of the game. Heating up, cooling off is Paul George with the Ace Hardware temperature check. Visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. While we're here, we're going to tell you once again, Jared McCain was phenomenal. He's our player of the game, everybody. 20 points on the night off the bench, shooting just under 44% from the floor, 4 for 10 from 3, which is really encouraging, seeing those last 2 drop for him, and open the game up a little bit more, where it felt like, okay, this game is over with. And as Kyle mentioned, one of the things that you're watching the game, you're looking at his points, you're looking at what he's doing there. He had 5 steals, which was a game high tonight against the Brooklyn Nets. So player of the game, Jared McCain, great work by him. Can't wait to see how it just continues to build and build and build. Man, we saw that that 5-minute night, and we were talking about, hey, man, does this guy have to go down to the G League to get some run, to get some extended minutes, to work on his conditioning?
No, sir.
And he said, nah, I heard you guys. I was watching the podcast, and I wasn't going down to Delaware. And somebody even said in the chat that day, remember, get him an apartment in Delaware. No apartment in Delaware. He's just good in his home here for the big club. All right, let's take our second break. When we come back, we'll talk about the unsung hero, tell you about our Black Friday sale as well, get into the Andre Drummond injury also, because why again do these guys? One player comes back, two players come back in this case, and another one gets injured. We need to talk about that, and we will when we get back. Sixers win. We'll discuss it all when we get back right here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show. And I'm here to tell you about the good people at Cherry Hill Jeep, everybody. It's the holidays. You got to go see the family in all these different spots. Like Thanksgiving, you probably had to go from household to household, friends, family, that side of the family, this other side of the family, see all the great people. Well, if you're looking for a Jeep, you're gonna holiday season is just getting underway. You want to ride and drive in style. If you're looking for a Jeep or a Ram truck, there's only one dealership in South Jersey who has been the market leader since 1967. Our friends at cherryhilljeep.com. They have you covered on the best selection, but most importantly, the best prices. Slide into the 2025 Jeep Wrangler this month for $289 a month. That's right, $289 a month. Every Wrangler delivers strong drivetrains, innovative engineering, and quality components that underpin the icon's legendary heritage. Lease payments with $0 down payments, available in financing options for all credit on over 350 vehicles in stock. If you stop in today, tomorrow, tell them PHLY sent you and receive $1,000 off your new car and an additional $2,000 for your trade-in. I know people buy Jeeps and Ram trucks elsewhere, Kyle.
I just don't know why, Devon.
Drive home in your new Jeep or Ram truck today, just minutes from all bridges, or available online 24/7 at cherryhilljeep.com.
And guys, your stars need to be in the right role. We see that a lot with Quentin Grimes. Catch and shoot, Quentin, very good. One or two dribble attack and closeout, very good. Initiate an offense, because businesses are just like your stars. It's not worth the time, risk, or money. You have to keep your stars focused on doing what they do best. The same goes for your business. You don't want your top people buried in operations, the tedious, time-consuming, redundant activities that wear the team down. Keep your impact players fresh so they can focus on putting points on the board. That's where Togo comes in, an integrated part of your team, taking that work off your starters' plates so they can focus on what really moves the business forward. Every engagement starts with free process mapping and engineering, no cost, no commitment. They don't bill you a dime until the real work begins. And with programs starting as low as $1,000 a month, you're not going to break the bank. Each Togo program includes dedicated staff, custom automations, and US-based process engineers who act as your quarterback, giving you complete control, total transparency, and instant efficiency. At Togo, turning your playbook into performance. You call the plays, we execute your way, and we advise along the journey. Visit harnesstogo.com, scale smarter, work faster, and stay focused on winning.
And we're back here on the PHLY Sixers postgame show, 115-103, the final score. Your team on the winning side over the Brooklyn Nets, getting this W here. And let's tell you before we get back to the basketball, well, maybe your basketball team encourages you, and also with the holiday season upcoming and you're looking for some gifts, got to tell you about our PHLY and our All City Black Friday sale. Everything from 30 all the way up to 90% off once you go to store.allcitynetwork.com and check out all the great selection from the Philly collection. I know you're down on the Birds right now, but maybe you want to still purchase a great Birds hoodie. You got the Philly football one. You have the one in the Kelly green also with the old Birds font from back in the early 90s and all. Some really good stuff. Our gear here at PHLY Sixers, if you want to go check out the new Spectrum shirts or the very popular, I know the designer on this one too. Very popular 2000, 2001 PHLY theme t-shirt. I'm pretty good friends with the designer there. I know somebody. I know some people. Yeah, go check it out, everybody. Store.allcitynetwork.com or just simply go to allphly.com, hit the merch drop-down button, and you can find all the great gear there. We got a ton of videos.
I'd love to meet that guy, Devon.
I'll introduce you. You know, I'll always introduce you to guys, anybody I know. So I will do that for you and make sure you meet that person. And everybody, go get some PHLY Sixers gear from the Spectrum hoodie again, the 2001 theme t-shirt, our team hoodie and, you know, t-shirt that we have here. Go check this one out. Get that. Derek's hat, Kyle's hat. You can get it all. Get it all right there at allphly.com. Go check it out. 30 to 90% off site-wide. All right, let's get to the unsung hero of the day, presented by Togo. It's Derek's friends, Togo, telling you about all of them.
Derek's close personal friends at Togo.
Exactly. He can introduce us to them. And that is Adem Bona back.
Yes.
We did not know Andre Drummond was going to go down, obviously, but he was going to be the primary backup to Drummond. And it looked dicey, too, because he picks up 3 personal fouls.
Yeah.
Barlow picks up 3 personal fouls. So does Jabari Walker off the bench. We didn't know what was going to happen. Janai Broom got some early minutes. As a result, he played 7 minutes and 27 seconds, had 2 points on 2 made free throws. He did have 3 fouls, so he kept up with them for a good portion of it. But Adem Bona, 22 minutes and 50 seconds. He was 6 for 7, very efficient from the floor. He had a jump hook, guys. He made a 3-pointer from the corner. You guys talked about the backup centers and loving their 3-pointers from the corner. 6 boards and 4 block shots, finishing with 13 points. Kyle, unsung hero tonight, Adem Bona back, giving us a good Adem Bona game.
Yeah. Was it perfect? No. Was it what they needed out of him after a layoff? I think absolutely. And frankly, more than what you would have expected, given that I would not have bet a single dollar on Adem Bona hitting a 3 in that game. With all due respect to our partners at Bet365, I also wouldn't advise anybody betting on Adem Bona to hit a 3 in that game. So I think the important stuff was after picking up the early fouls, and I think he was pulled with right around 5 minutes to play in the second quarter with 3 fouls. He only picked up a single foul the rest of the game. And that was absolutely massive on a night where you needed every minute you could get out of Adem Bona. The Drummond injury, we're not exactly sure exactly how long he's going to be out, if at all. There was some reporting out of the arena tonight that I believe he was able to walk out of the arena under his own power, might have been wearing some type of sleeve around the knee. So fingers crossed that nothing serious has happened there. But Adem played with enough energy to impact the game, but not too much energy where he's just recklessly running into people. He actually had a foul reversed when he went up for a shot contest on, was Nick Claxton, right? Coming down the lane, where he was fortunate that Nick Claxton fouled him first, because he absolutely fouled him on the follow through on the block attempt, but made some good plays around the rim as a finisher. I thought there were some moments tonight where they trapped Maxey a lot. And so Adem Bona, or whoever this ball screener was, had to play in 4-on-3s. And normally I look at Adem Bona in a 4-on-3 and I'm like, give me the 3, because I don't trust the guy with the ball in his hands. But I think he did a very good job tonight of just taking 1 or 2 dribbles, getting to a spot, stopping, and then what does the floor look like? Do I have a pass? Okay, I'll try to make the pass. If not, maybe a short hook that you already mentioned, maybe a dunk attempt, whatever it might be. He even attempted a lob to Dominic Barlow, and I honestly thought that was more Barlow's fault than Adem's. I thought he put the pass in a good spot, and they just weren't able to connect. But, yeah, that was a strong, especially in a strong comeback game for Adem Bona.
Yeah, look, Adem's always going to be chaotic. It's just, is he going to be chaotic positive, chaotic neutral, chaotic negative? And I think early on, he was picking up fouls really quick. And it's one thing you want to contest Nick Claxton at the rim, that's fine. He's picking up fouls on the perimeter. You're going like, oh no, I have no idea how many minutes you can actually get out of this guy. Not because he was playing poorly, he just couldn't stay on the floor. And I do give him some credit for reining that back in a little bit. That doesn't mean I expect that to carry over. I expect we start the next game and he's going to pick up 3 fouls in 5 minutes, because that's what Adem does for the most part. But I do think he was able to channel his energy, and his energy was consistent all night, and it was really impressive. And frankly, every now and then they just need that shot of energy. And he was able to do that on both ends of the floor, attacking the basket. getting some lobs, like you mentioned, that hook, 3 skill levels we didn't even think he had. Again, not sure I necessarily trusted to carry over. Next game, I do not want corner 3-point shooting and dead bone, but for one night, it was real nice. And it was just like that defense, that rim protection was real. And they just don't have anyone that can get off the floor that quickly and can challenge a shot and challenge a shot unexpectedly when the opponent isn't really looking out for it. And that kind of a threat really does change things. And for him to be able to stay on the floor, not pick up a ton of fouls after the first couple of minutes, and be able to be that shot blocking force, it really did help them in a big way. And they needed every minute of it because most of your other options once Drummond went down were just not working.
Nah, it was a bit of a roller coaster for a Dembona, for me watching a Dembona, as we have grown accustomed to when watching him. The corner 3 is, well, first of all, the hook shot, I was like, no, pass the ball out, kick it out. And he took the jump hook and it was all net. It was like, okay, not bad. And to your point, Kyle, after he picked up the 3 fouls and he knew he was getting that start there in the third quarter, I was like, oh man, he's got this other one that he's gonna have to sit down pretty quickly. But after that, he settled down. Derek's point of the offensive stuff and just staying contained out there on the floor, not overdoing things, not being too sped up. It was really that. But see, that's the thing about him. And look, we understand that he's a second-round pick. I think he was 44th overall, something like that in the 2024 draft. And there are going to be some ups and downs with his play, but he does these things, and they're very encouraging. And he can't help himself when it comes to certain things where it gets him in trouble. And that's where, as watchers, as we pay attention to what he's doing, it gets a little frustrating of understanding what's happening in the game situationally and what you can and cannot do. You're always really tempted to reach in on the basketball and try to get a steal, or because of your leaping ability to get that block. But he has to be able to, and he's being coached to do so, but instinctively it just takes over. He'll continue to learn and develop those things to stay away from so he can stay on the floor much longer. And he never seems to tire. He's always running up and down the floor, giving the best energy, and seeing what he did again tonight. And it was really, really good. Now, maybe we're going to have to see him quite a bit on Sunday, depending on the news that we get from Andre Drummond. Hopefully he can take from, most importantly, he can take from this and know what he can do in the starting role again, like he did at the end of last season, where we were really encouraged, and bring that back to this particular time period against the Atlanta Hawks on Sunday and going forward, so he can stay on the floor.
Yeah, the hope with him is that the things that he does have, the athleticism, the willingness, and the ability to kind of get to any shot, those are things you can't really teach.
Mm-hmm.
You hope that the things you can teach, discipline, positioning, just the little fundamentals of the game, you're hoping that those can come along enough that you can channel all that athleticism. He's still productive in the shot blocking role. He needs to be a better rebounder. He needs to be a more regular finisher at the rim the way he was tonight. What was he, 6 for 7, I think, tonight at the end of the game?
Yep.
So as long as he can keep doing the things that he's good at, the key is simply rounding out the rest of his game. And this could be an opportunity here over the next, week, 2 weeks. We don't know what's going on with Drummond, but there is an opportunity here for him to play some important minutes. And if he can get a good run of games under his belt, maybe he can settle in. Tonight was a good start.
Yep, absolutely. Andre Drummond, he is our unsung hero, presented by Togo, the leader in operations outsourcing. Let Togo handle the work that gets in the way of your work. You hold the reins. We pull the sled. Togo, make sure you go visit them for all your needs. All right, when we come back, final break here, we'll talk about Andre Drummond's injury, Quentin Grimes. The guys have been waiting to talk about Quentin Grimes, and much, much more, and also get their thoughts on the Atlanta Hawks on Sunday as the Sixers host the Hawks, 6 o'clock on Sunday in South Philly. It's the Sixers postgame show right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast.
Guys, you would have been drinking crooked tea for very different reasons after the Eagles game compared to after the Sixers game. One was misery. Tonight was pure joy. But crooked tea is always joy, right? Especially compared to the other hard teas out there. You can't look at what's in their ingredients because they don't want to show you. Meanwhile, Crooked Tea is bragging about it. They brew real USDA organic tea for real flavor with zero sugar, no fake junk hiding behind the label. What you see is what you drink. Next time you're at the store, I want you to flip the can. If you can't find the ingredients, you got to put it back. Grab a Crooked Tea, zero sugar, real tea, and fully transparent. Real recognizes real here in Philly, so why drink the fake stuff? Crooked Tea, the only thing better is a strip sack in the Super Bowl. Visit crookedtea.com to find it in a store near you. And we're accustomed to the disappointed sports feelings around here, but also the exciting sports feelings, right? That feeling when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, you go to the parade. You want to recreate that type of feeling in your life. You don't want to be going to jewelry stores where you show up unprepared and you're saying, what's the difference between all these diamonds? What if they don't like it? Letting all that negativity cloud your mind, letting all that confusion cloud your mind. You don't want it to be stressful. That's why Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design are there for you, and they are a game changer. They make the whole process seamless. From the minute that you walk in, they treat you like family. They listen. They help you figure out exactly what your partner is going to love, and then their team designs something completely custom right there in-house because everybody's different. Everybody wants something different in terms of the gifts, the big things you're going to give them in life. So there's no pressure there, no pushy sales vibe. It's just good people who love what they do, and they're going to hook you up with exactly what you need to make your special someone feel great and look great. So the next time you need that perfect piece, I want you to go see Joe and Michelle at Bucci's Jewelry and Design. 30 plus years in the game, voted Philly's #1 jeweler year after year. Over 1,000 five-star reviews, speaks for itself. Check them out today at BucciJewelers.com and tell them the guys at PHLY sent you.
Welcome back here on the PHLY Sixers post-game show. Go get that jewelry. It's the holiday season. You got, less than a month now. Go get that jewelry.
And it's Black Friday, baby.
Tell them Kyle sent you. All right, Derek. Andre Drummond, injury in the second quarter. He got off to a really good start. He knocked down the corner three. It's never a doubt anymore when Andre Drummond lines up for
Sniper.
Oh, come on. I mean, he didn't even hesitate, Kyle, right? Your defense was right there. He said, I'm firing this thing up.
He said, you better come out and play me out here.
Exactly. It was all net, and he popped the nets on that one. And then, unfortunately, I mean, it was still really tough because of the angle to see how his knee hyperextended. At one point, I thought he stepped on. I thought it was like Kyle Lowry's foot or something like that. Or I don't know. I mean, it was just tough to see. But hyperextension, couldn't get off the floor. They had to call timeout. Once he got back to the tunnel, needed help to get back to the locker room in a wheelchair. Kyle, you mentioned that the report you saw that he was in a walking boot when he left.
Some kind of sleeve, I
believe, was on
his knee. It was how it was described.
Okay. And tough. You get Bona and George back, and then Andre Drummond goes down. Derek, your initial thoughts in the moment as it happened and looking at what they need to go through going forward. Despite, look, we don't know yet of the extent of the injury, but tough to think that he can play on Sunday at least, depending on how it looked at that moment.
Yeah, I mean, just given how cautious they're being with pretty much every other injury, you'd be surprised if he hyperextended his knee and came out and played the next game. No, I mean, when we first watched it, there's a little bit of a debate going on in our Discord. And for those that don't know, including Kyle, Discord is a chat service that we use with our diehard subscribers.
Including Kyle.
Okay, I'm sorry, including Devon. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Slander.
Look at that. Taking one for the team, Kyle. Thank you.
But we were trying to figure out, like, did he land on his foot? Did he hit his knee? Like, what exactly happened? And to be honest, I'm not sure if there was a great answer. But hyperextension, again, we kind of went over this last year with Paul George, doesn't really tell you the extent of the injury. It just kind of showed you what the knee did in the moment. Now you sit around, is there bone bruising? Is there any kind of ligament damage? We have to wait and find out for that. But it really is like, they just can't have more. Like, you have three traditional centers on this roster right now. And you really don't want to roster more of them because there's just not that many minutes when all three are healthy. But the Sixers at this point have pretty much never had more than one center healthy for any stretch of games. And it is like, look, Adem was great. Stayed out of foul trouble, contributed offensively, mostly was chaotic positive, even though there was a little bit of chaos. But if you're going to ask me, do I trust him to play 30 minutes regularly for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks if Andre is out for an extended period of time? No, of course not. So when you're sitting here and you've just basically got a young, unproven Bona, and you've got a Joel Embiid who I think probably still has a right knee, even though the Sixers are kind of vague about that. And you have no idea when he's going to be back. And if he does come back, is he going to be able to play more than 3 games in a row? It is really going to be sketchy on how they're going to fill these center minutes, because all of the other options, look, Barlow is, he's a good defender. He can provide some weak side rim protection. You don't want to ask him to try to man the center for an extended period of time. Walker has struggled and really struggled here tonight. I think he had 5 fouls in 12 minutes, something of that sort. There's just not, and I mean, Broom, he was better tonight.
Mm-hmm.
There was almost nowhere to go but up, but he was better, but you don't want to rely on him. They are now in a very precarious situation if Andre misses time. And he has quickly worked himself into a pretty integral part of what they do. We were actually talking about this. Was this before the game, or was this a podcast that might come out in I think it's in a podcast that might come out tomorrow. Tune in for that. But like, he has really become one of those players that you just can't live without right now, especially if Joel Embiid's not there. He's been one of the real surprises of the season. After really struggling last year, he has turned it around in a pretty big way and been pretty consistent. And this is a scary one. It really is a shame because you're starting to get guys back, right? You got Jared back and he's been playing well. You got Paul back for at least a game and he played well. You got Adem back and he played well. But it feels like every time you take a step forward, there's just another injury on the horizon, and it sucks.
I just want to note that you two just agreed on the fact that Janai Broom played better. He had 2 points and 3 fouls and no other stats in 7.5
I didn't say he played
minutes.
well. I said he played better.
Are you sure?
Yes, because I watched the previous game.
He didn't log a stat other than 2 points and 3 fouls.
I'm not saying he played well. I'm saying he played better than the previous game.
I don't know what that's based. I think at best he played his previous game to a standstill is kind of my point here. Anyway, on the Drummond front, I think the critical piece here is that he's been the only big non-Joel addition who I think any of us trust at a starter level workload. I think any of these guys, whether it's Drummond, Bona, even Dominic Barlow in some of these small ball shifts, have proven, they might be able to give you 10 good minutes. They might be able to give you 15 good minutes on a good night. But I don't think there's any real chance that you can expect Adem Bona or Barlow or Walker or Broom to give you something like 25, 30 good minutes on both ends of the floor without being in foul trouble, without adding some manner of chaos to the game. And that's what Drummond did. Drummond was a solid, sturdy starting option. He's sort of what they envisioned when they signed him last offseason, one of the first moves they made in free agency. And I think the other part of it is, even if you say, okay, maybe Joel Embiid comes back Sunday or comes back at some point next week, and he's able to absorb a good chunk of those minutes. Part of Andre's value, too, was when Bona got the initial run at backup center to start this season. When he played poorly, Andre did a really good job in a couple of spots coming in the second half, completely cold, hadn't played the whole game, and gave them like 10 to 15 good minutes off the bench as Joel's dealing with a minute restriction. That's really tough to do, and you give him a lot of credit for being able to do that. So I think it's a pretty big loss if he misses any kind of serious time. I am not inclined to bring in another big. I would hope that they're able to hold the fort here. But obviously, that's based on the idea that this is not going to be like a long-term thing. So first thing is fingers crossed for Andre. You feel bad for him that he's playing super well after a tough last season. So hopefully it was not as bad as it looked during the game.
Totally agree. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later, and everything is okay with Andre Drummond. All right, let's get to the other player that we need to discuss. 42 minutes and 38 seconds. He played the most. He may play more than Tyrese Maxey out there tonight. I don't know if you guys could tell. He had 19 points, 9
I
assists.
can tell, all right. Hard to miss him.
19 points, 9 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 5 turnovers, 0 for 6 from 3, 8 for 20. Quentin Grimes. Have at it.
The ultimate Jekyll and Hyde player.
Yes.
Is
Yes,
kind
he
of
is.
how I am looking at him at this point. 0 for 6 from 3, but a lot of success as a driver. 5 turnovers with those 9 assists. Like it's everywhere you look on the stat sheet. The good is kind of equally or close to equally weighed against the bad. He's I won't even say occasionally. He's a frequently frustrating player, but then he has a stretch of the game where he scores like 8 to 10 points in 90 seconds or 2 minutes, and you're like, all right, I don't know how you play without this guy or make the case that he should be, in a lesser spot in the rotation. So I think the part that really is baffling to me is that there are moments when he is a really intuitive playmaker.
Yeah.
Like there'll be some just like quick reads on the perimeter, or they're in transition and it's just like a bang, bang, like give and go type play. And sometimes off the dribble, he can throw a nice whip pass. And then there are plays where I'm like, what were you seeing? Are you playing in a different game than the rest of the guys, the other 9 guys on the floor are playing in? And it's just hard to wrap your mind around, because you see one guy for 5 minutes of the game and it's like, God, this guy should be a high level starter making tons of money. And then you're in the Discord having chats with people saying, God, they should never let this guy dribble. like what's going on here? But so ultimately comes out with I think a good game overall, and it's been a huge net positive for this team. But boy, is it a roller coaster watching this guy play.
No, I mean, Aaron and Tyler just brought it up on a screen a second ago. I said this. It was the best of Grimes. It was the worst of Grimes. And that is every single day.
Shout out
every
Charles
single game.
Dickens.
Yeah. No, when he tried that Harden step back, I almost lost my mind. I really almost lost my mind. There was still like over 10 seconds left on the shot clock. It's like, buddy, what are you doing? And he obviously gets himself into a lot of trouble with some of the drives. Like when he has a lot of space, he can take his man off the dribble. But the moment he gets in traffic and like a perimeter player can dig it down and really disrupt him, he just gets so loose with the ball. And there are so many bad shots that result from that. But then Kyle's right. You look up and he makes like 3 drives in a row. Not tonight, but usually in the fourth quarter, he's been making some really big threes. And he's been really integral in a number of their wins and frustrated you almost every single time. He's one of because look, I think some people will overreact when he does bad stuff, because he has been really important. Like his catch and shoot game has been really good pretty much all year. He's hit some big shots in the fourth quarter. He's been a good defender for most of the year. He can occasionally make some good plays, although they usually come with they always come with some turnovers alongside with them. They need him. They actually do. But they need him to play within the confines of what he's capable of. And I'm not sure he is at a point either in his career or in his contract where he is fully capable of doing that with any kind of consistency. And I think it's going to be a roller coaster for most of the year, because I do think he's going to continue to play minutes because he's one of their better two-way players. And I think he's going to have times where he's playing alongside of Joel or alongside of Paul, alongside of Tyrese, where he's playing more of a catch and shoot game or attacking closeouts, which he still does pretty well. And I think he's going to look really good. And then you're going to get lineups where it's like him and, Jared McCain, and he's trying to go ISO Quentin all the time. And it's just going to drive you nuts. It's going to drive you nuts.
All right, we're going to tell everybody that we are going to hit a quick overtime. Hopefully it doesn't drive you nuts on this Friday night. Thanks for hanging out with us on the television side, on the Fast channel. We will see you on Sunday at 5:30 for the pregame coverage. Tip time, 6 o'clock. Sixers host Jalen Johnson and the Atlanta Hawks. Thanks for spending some time with us. Head on over to allphly.com. All right, didn't mean to cut you off on the Quentin Grimes conversation.
No, I was coming to an end. I saw the clock. I understand what we got to do.
It's
with
also
overtime.
fitting. Like Quentin Grimes cuts everybody else off when they're playing basketball.
No, man. And I looked at it, I said, 9 assists. I didn't realize he had that many assists in the game because of the up and down nature of what the game was. Because he didn't shoot the ball well. I think he had 9 in the third quarter, and that's Kyle, where you were talking about, he just goes off for a spurt, and you're like, oh, Quentin Grimes is cooking. And that was part of where I looked at Jared McCain, and he decided to defer a little bit to Grimes because he had it rolling, and he played the entire third quarter, and he was just, man, he was getting those shots up. He really was, and that's Quentin Grimes. So I cannot wait to find out what the offseason looks like. He's going to be an unrestricted free agent, and I want to see what those offers are going to look like. That first one that hopefully one of you guys break and find out that he was offered this. I can't wait to find out, man, because it's going to be a good one.
I will reiterate what Derek said. I think is right. He has been a very important piece for this team. Like all the joking and the laughing about some of the turnovers aside, he's been very good for what they needed him to do. Especially like you think about him as he has been a sixth man. Guys who are sixth men, other than like Manu Ginobili, are inherently going to come in with some flaws, and you're going to live with some ups and downs. But he has been an every night producer. And I think one of the most important things is that with him playing minutes at the three, they've been able to hold up defensively. Now, that doesn't all come down to him, but he's had some real moments as a point of attack guy. For example, in the game against the Clippers, where they used him in a big way to slow down James Harden in that game. So I think he has done everything you could hope and expect for out of him this season. It's just like if he could scale back like 10% in some of these stretches where he's just going crazy, I think he'll be better, and I think the team will be better.
Yep, 100%.
We'll find out. We shall see. He is important. They need him. He's part of the rotation. They need him. And he had a decent night, finishing with a game high 42 plus minutes, even more than Tyrese Maxey. All right, guys, you'll be at the arena on Sunday, and the Sixers taking on the Atlanta Hawks. Atlanta got off to that rough start, and then Trae Young goes down, and they started to pick it up and turn things around. And Atlanta looks really good, once again led by Jalen Johnson and Nickeil Alexander-Walker is playing some good basketball. Kongwu is doing some really nice things. Ricochet from time to time also. The Atlanta Hawks are right now sitting at 12-8, and they are fifth, tied with the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic in the Eastern Conference standings. 7 of their last 10 they have won, and tonight they beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 130-123. So before we see you guys on Sunday at the arena, check in with you on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Just want to get your thoughts on what the Atlanta Hawks pose as far as an opponent for the Sixers. Jalen Johnson tonight, by the way, at home finished with 29, 12 rebounds, 12 assists in 39 minutes. He was phenomenal.
Well, so he has been the story for them pretty easily. I think he is right now on track to be an all-star as long as he is healthy. And I think the dangerous thing for him, especially from a Sixers perspective, is that he's not just a scorer. He's someone who's able to put it on the floor, also play make for others as well. And when you're his size with his scoring ability, and you're also able to get your teammates going, the Sixers don't have, with Kelly Oubre out, a natural matchup for him. He is someone who should be able to be just play the too small game against Quentin Grimes. Paul George could match like for like with him, but Jalen Johnson has the youth, has the athleticism on him right now, I think. And Paul does not typically like to play in that top assignment type of role. So you're probably going to have to send some extra help his way. Defensively, in the period after Trae Young went down, they got much, much better. That's not exactly shocking because Trae is, we'll call, a problematic defender, to be charitable to him. But they have certainly figured some things out, and Jalen Johnson is by far the most prominent, most important person in that group. I'm pretty excited to watch him play in person, see what he's got, because it feels like he's taken a significant leap this year.
No, he's taken a huge leap. And since Trae went down, he's averaging like 22, 10, and 8. Like he's averaging darn near a triple-double. His growth as a playmaker at his position and at his size makes him a really unique player. And I think when you look at the growth that he has made, and then you talk about Alexander Walker, and he's playing really good ball right now with Trey out. Even if you brought up Okongwu, but even Kristaps, when he's been in the lineup, has played some pretty good ball. They are getting pretty good contributions up and down that roster, and a lot of that comes back to Jalen being able to grow as a hub of an offense type guy with Trey out of the lineup. And they have been a lot better defensively. Like I think they are right around like 12th or something in those 14 games since Trey went down. They had won 7 of 9 before they almost inexplicably lost to the Wizards, but they were playing really, really good ball and pretty consistent two-way ball too. So it will be interesting with somebody like Johnson and just the growth that he's made. To Kyle's point, like when you would talk about like what you want to see, I really want to get a chance to see him up close because he has taken a massive, massive leap.
He was the one that when we do our All-Star selections last year, guys, the reserves, I picked him over Trae Young last year before he got hurt, if you guys remember. And Trae, of course, got the nod. But clearly, to your point, he is on pace to be an All-Star this year. Tonight, just as you talk about the two-way play and all that, Derek, I failed to mention Dyson Daniels. How you forget the guy, first-team all-defense. He almost had a 10-point triple-double, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. 3 steals.
The Ben Simmons special.
Well, they used to make fun of Iguodala for those too. Yeah. I remember, I think it was Hollinger might have had a derogatory phrase or two, but yeah.
Yeah. And Walker, he had 28 tonight, as you guys mentioned him. Richase 16, 29 for Daniels, 18 for Okongwu, who's also starting to knock down threes, guys. So he and Dembona are going to be trading threes on Sunday at the arena.
All right, let's not go too far here.
You guys trust more.
It's not a them. Let's put it that way.
Let's get ready to get out of here. Say goodnight to everybody. Once again, happy Thanksgiving to all of you. Hope you had a great holiday with your friends and your family. We appreciate you guys greatly. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We can't thank you enough. Make sure, again, you go take advantage of the Black Friday sale right now, 30 to 90% off at allphly.com, store.allcitynetwork.com, and you can go get some great gear, some gifts for your loved ones right there representing PHLY. Let's get ready for the world famous so we can say goodnight to everybody. The roll call.
Once again, YouTube making this tough on us, Devon, with the changed names, but we rise, I suppose. Thank you to CJ. Thank you to Win Forever. Thank you to AA Ron.
What up, Aaron?
Wawa Marvel, my girl Nona.
Hey, Nona.
Hello to Jess. Hello to Val.
Hey, ladies.
All our ladies in here. Thank you to Mom's grandchildren for checking in. Obviously appreciate that. Thank you to Joe. Thank you to Lost Sleep TV. Thank you to Reardon. Thank you to Vic.
Not
Bernard McCoy, who Bernard is still on the I'm not impressed with PG. Bernard, I get it. He's making a lot of money, but
only
take the wins
games
where you can get them. Right now, thank you to Marcus. Thank you to Theo.
What up, Theo?
Thank you to Jay of the Jungle. Thank you to Hedfa. Thank you to all of our wonderful people who are hanging out with us. Shadow Lurker, Vince Pellegrini hanging out.
Vinny.
We have someone, Kel Knows Ball, who's I believe a Supporters Club member. I'm not sure what their previous AKA on here was, but we'll have to find that out after YouTube fixes things again. Thank you to I Gavini. Thank you to Will. Thank you to You Better Love Somebody.
Love somebody.
Constantine in the building. Thank you guys, all of you who were here tonight. My computer won't let me scroll anymore. So if I didn't get to you, it's not because I don't love you. It's just because we have technological limitations. Like people who don't limit us are Xfinity. Thanks to Xfinity, as always. Thank you to Bet365, all our other wonderful partners. The way you can thank us is to hit the thumbs up button on this video. It helps us out, helps us in the algorithm. It helps me sleep at night, helps these two wonderful gentlemen on the screen next to me feel good about themselves. Tonight, it's a thank you to Tyler Zulli producing the show.
What up, Ty?
In place of Bree. Thank you to Tyler for stepping into the chair with us tonight, helping the show run smoothly, putting together the graphics, doing all the things behind the scenes none of us want to do. You the best, Tyler. Until next time, that's Sunday for pregame and postgame against Atlanta. Got to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you get notifications each and every time we go live. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the weekend festivities. If you have more Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Cyber Monday plans lined up. I hope you all enjoy those. Until the next show, stay safe, take care of one another. Goodbye.
See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.